Now today, I will give you an example of another good example, not again story, another example of an Indian who became a great scientist. He is from, actually, I think, Bengal. His name is Mani Bhaumik. Mani Bhaumik. B-H-O-U-M-I-K. Mani was born in Bengal in a small place called Tamluk. Tamluk is a small village. And he was born to poverty. His father was a school teacher, pre-independence, who was working with Gandhiji. So the police, British police, were after his father. So the father could not come home. This boy lived his life in penury. Sometimes the whole day they didn't eat anything. And Peter's fruits were not available those days. So he didn't eat anything. And if he ate something, his granny and his mother were looking after him. Somehow or other, this boy survived. Many times the police came to kill them, but they survived. And when the boy became a little older, he was a genius in mathematics. So the local school teacher picked him up and took him to school. And there, his mathematics papers could not be understood by the teacher himself. So somehow or other, to cut the long story short, he got a scholarship to do his MSc in mathematics in the Calcutta University. In the Calcutta University, he had Satyendra Nath Bose as his professor of physics. You probably have heard of Satyendra Nath Bose. Satyendra Nath Bose was such a great physicist that his contemporaries in Germany, like Derrick and others, found out that Satyendra Nath Bose had done so much in quantum physics, they called the particle called bosons. You must have heard of bosons if you have studied physics. Now Satyendra Nath Bose encourages his boy, gives him money, and then sends him abroad to Paul Derrick. To cut the long story short, he gets his PhD and postdoc at the UCLA University. And this boy finds out something. He ultimately discovers what is called laser. And he finds out that laser can work in cold temperature, room temperature. And he is the one who is giving you that new surgery that we do on the eyes instead of the spectacles, LASIK, L-A-S-I-K. That LASIK surgery was initiated by Bhaumik. And for finding that out, Bhaumik suddenly becomes rich. The LASIK company hires him and gives him a lot of shares. And Bhaumik in the next 10 years becomes so rich that he almost has about 10 girls dating him. 4 of them are film actresses from Hollywood. And he buys a palatial house which is called Bhaumik Palace on the Beverly Hills. And then, do you know who all come to his house for food? President Clinton, Reagan, Bush, they were all his guests. And he makes so much money and he goes on doing so-called research. One fine evening, after the guests had all gone, he had a huge house. His house had an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Bhaumik alone was sitting there because all these 10 girls left him. Because Bhaumik found he can't be a husband for any girl. He lived with them for 3-4 years and then left them. Last one was a very powerful actress. She also left him. At that stage he sat there and said, "Who am I? Bhaumik. I was born to penury in my country and today I am the richest American. And what have I done? I have done what is called science. And what is the science I have done? I have destroyed the conventional wisdom of holism." So he converts himself completely into a mystic. Doing the so-called work he does, he becomes a mystic. And he has written a book for all of you to know what matter is, what this world is. The book's name is Code Named God. Code Name God. And the author's name is Bhaumik. And Mani Bhaumik, M-A-N-I-B-H-O-U-M-I-K, Bhaumik. And the book's name is Code Named God. In this book, he so beautifully takes you from one end to the other end, saying, if you keep God inside the holistic thing and then develop a holistic science of matter and energy, where everything is energy including God, you will not have to exclude God outside at all. And you don't do science with an object cut off from the subject. You are a scientist and you look at the world with you inside it. And that is called the holistic science. Now I bring you back to health. If you want health, you must look at the human body as a whole. Not only human body as a whole, human beings as a whole. Now, when once I recognize that I am a part of all of you sitting here, I am a part of this whole universe, you will be surprised that I am a part of even a worm or a bird or a creature. Then there is no human conflict in the human mind. Where is the mind? Mind is in every body cell. In every single body cell, there is your mind. And that will make you very happy. And you have no enemies at all. And when once you don't have enemies, you have no diseases. We have one of the largest groups of diseases which we call as autoimmune disease. Do you know what is autoimmune disease? Your own body cells kill your own body cells. And do you know what's the treatment? We don't have any treatment. We give you steroids and you die a miserable death. But there is a man who completely recovered from autoimmune disease by just forgetting this world and laughing at everything. Not laughing at everything, laughing with everything. And this man's name is Norman Cousins. Have you heard of Cousins? Norman Cousins was a very famous American journalist who came up with an autoimmune disease called sclerosing spondylitis, ankylosing spondylitis, which is a disease which kills you gradually. And he was examined at the best places because he was the president's reporter. And they all said, you will die in 6 months' time. So instead of dying at home or in the hospital, he went to a hospice. You know what hospice is? It's a place where you die comfortably without the doctor's onslaught on you. One day, he was there, his friends were coming. A friend cracked a joke, a genuine joke. And Norman suddenly burst out spontaneously laughing. When he started laughing, he found his finger was moving. Not a part of his body was moving. If a fly sits on his face, he couldn't drive it away. And suddenly he found his finger moving. Then he ordered his friends. Those days there were no televisions. There were those 16 pictures. So his friends brought the projector into the room, like the olden days. And they put the pictures, the various comedy pictures. And he laughed and laughed and laughed. 3 months he laughed. And then went out home and happy and healthy for the next 20 years. He has written a book for you. It's called Anatomy of an Illness. Anatomy of an Illness. The author's name is Norman Cousins. And this is a very book you can get in any shop because it's one of those Penguin classics. And a fascinating book which will change your life. So, I am now tying this great quantum physics, which is very difficult, to Peter. How do I do that? Peter discovered this without being a scientist of that grade and without going into quantum physics. He found that if you love everybody, you will be healthy. That is the basis of the wellness concept. Did you get that now? So, wellness concept is one that stimulates the energy in the atmosphere. All of us are happy today. All of us have come here to love one another. And you will be surprised. If a sick patient walks into this room, he will get cured. Just like that boy got cured by hugging the tree. The tree is a frequency. You are a frequency. I am a frequency. This mic is a frequency. Everything is a frequency. We are all energy. God is a frequency. We are different frequencies. So God is not somewhere else. God is inside. This is quantum physics. And I will take you to Upanishads. Aham Brahma Asmi. Now most Western scientists, thinking scientists, take Upanishads as their main yardstick. I was in Germany recently. I went to one of the greatest scientists in Germany. In his office we were talking. And the man had a board above his head. Do you know what he had? If you go to any one of our universities, what does the Vice Chancellor have? Knowledge is power. That's the board we have. And then we say, who said that? You know who said that? Francis Bacon. Because he knew, he was a lawyer. We call him a scientist, he was a lawyer. And with this legal language, he could send any one of his enemies into gallows. So he formed that formula, knowledge is power. And we are aping that for our students, knowledge is power. When I see that, I really feel like I would have said, wisdom is power. There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. You know, some of us with knowledgeable are very arrogant. I know so much. I am so I am a PhD. I am this, I am that. But if you have wisdom, you know, my God, I know nothing. I know nothing. And that's the stage man gets wisdom. And the poet said, knowledge dwells in heads replete with thoughts of other men, but wisdom dwells in heads attentive to their own.